Ladies and gentlemen, if you are hearing this, you have once again tuned to the Consequence of Habit podcast. This is your host, JT. This month's episode, I sit down with Josh Janish. Josh is a COH ambassador. He's the Running Carpenter on Instagram. If you want to find him, he's a fundraiser. I use the Stowe quote on here: "What stands in the way becomes the way." And I can't think of another person's story that would be more fitting to that quote than Josh's. Josh took an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, made these positive changes in his life. And for a lot of people, that's amazing, right? That's enough. But Josh has taken his love for running, which he found in sobriety, and used it to fundraise, to raise thousands and thousands of dollars for organizations that he believes in. So this thing that was destroying him has turned into this thing that has changed the lives of, he has no idea. There's people he'll never meet that are positively affected by what he's done. And with that said, he's running the Bryce Canyon 100 trail running race, and that's going to be on September 16th. And he used an amazing organization, something called the Wander Project, and Charity Bibs. And he's raised $2,370 for a Consequence of Habit. And I'm blown away by this. Josh and I have gone back and forth. Like I said, he's part of the ambassador group, but I really walked away from this conversation with even more respect for him. So without further ado, please welcome to the podcast the Running Carpenter himself, Josh Janish. Josh, first off, thanks for taking the time to do this. I imagine you just got off work not that long ago, huh?
Yeah, about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. By the time I get home, yeah.
Josh, obviously I know what you do for a living, but just kind of so everyone else has a quick background. What is it that you do for a living?
So I'm self-employed carpenter contractor, but I basically just contract to one contractor, building custom homes out here. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense, man. So I'm probably a good time to talk about what your Instagram handle is, right? It's the Running
Carpenter. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So Josh, you and I have it's probably, how long have we been talking now? About a year or so? Is it
probably? Yeah. Well,
maybe a little bit more.
I think a little bit more, but mostly, we've gotten to talk a lot more in this last year.
Yeah, for sure. So just so everybody, the listeners know, Josh is one of the Consequence of Habit ambassadors. That's probably going on about a year or so. One of the reasons I want to have Josh on, well, there's a lot of different reasons, but one of the main reasons, Josh wasn't part of the organization for very long when he reached out to talk about something called the Wander Project. I'll let you kind of get into what that is, but I really I want to start this whole thing off by just telling you, one, how much I appreciate you repping the brand. We're going to get into your story and why that's such a good fit. And then two, you've had a huge impact on Consequence of Habit in what you've done. You've got a race coming up. We're going to talk about that, the Bryce Canyon 100. But you've also raised, I looked right before we jumped on, $2,370 freaking dollars, man. You had a goal of 2,000. So the fact that you've gone above and beyond, I think it's like 118% or something like that.
Yeah.
Is just outstanding, man. So
thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. All right, Josh, let's talk about your story. Tell me why habits matter to you. Like, where did you come from? Where are you now? And what the freak got you so interested in kind of making these positive changes and then helping organizations like Consequence of Habit have an impact for others?
Yeah. So, high school sports, did all that stuff, wrestling, running, knew I wasn't going to go to college. So I joined the military. I did the reserves thing. I got deployed twice.
Where'd you go?
Iraq both times.
Okay.
Yeah.
What years was that?
2003, and then again in 2009 or 10. I don't remember.
Yeah. Both not good times though.
Yeah, both. Yeah, for over there, both not good times. I'll be completely honest. I'm not the. I was in an engineer unit, definitely not infantry, like any of that type stuff. There's a lot of. I don't talk about the veteran stuff much because, I'm not.
Is it because
You know, I
because of your position? You feel strange?
yeah, not yeah, kind of yeah, because of the position I had. I wasn't in any major battles. I wasn't in anything crazy. So I don't talk about it much. But I did 14 years in the reserve. I loved it. I loved all the guys I met. They were awesome. A lot of friends. Went all over the place. Um, but I was always I'm sure I was known as the angry little guy. Um, but out of the military, after my second deployment, I met my wife. Um, she had a 2 year old, my 2 year old stepson, Logan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just working, drinking, eating, all that stuff. And that just kind of became my habit. I'd get up in the morning, I'd go to work, I'd come home, I'd drink.
Do you find that within, excuse me, like those blue collar jobs
Oh my
that's,
God,
yeah,
yeah.
it's the
Oh
norm,
yeah,
right?
I could, yeah,
So
completely normal.
so whether it's in the military, which from what I've seen and experienced, that was somewhere the norm too. To even to cross over right into your day job.
Oh yeah,
As a
I mean, the military was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, chewing tobacco, and drinking. You know what
you
I
were
mean?
you were smoking too at the time.
Oh yeah,
Oh wow,
oh yeah, smoke, yeah, cigarettes, yeah, oh, yeah. Um,
yeah. It's
uh,
but it's just strange for me to hear because I just like Josh. I only know you as the Running Carpenter,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
So
dude, oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah, I would do. There's times where I'd do the PT test, the 2 mile run with a cigarette in my mouth.
oh good God,
You know, I was always that untouchable, basically. I
yeah.
always thought I was untouchable, that none of that bothered me. I was young. I didn't care. Um, but just years of that. And then, got married, struggled, anxiety, depression, tons of that stuff. I struggled with that, I think, most of my life, but like really noticed it once I, got married and I had my wife, who's an absolutely amazing person. Um, to tell me different things. You know what I mean? To bring up different things in our relationship as far as to get me to understand that I was depressed.
Did,
I
did
had
did you not know that like part
not
of that?
really. No, I'd rather just drink. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that was my thing. She'd always talk to me about stuff, but I just put that in the back burner, you know? So basically I had my entire 30s. Basically all my 30s was, working and drinking.
Hmm.
That's all I did. We ended up having 2 kids ourselves. So I had three boys, but, and then, we struggled everything, struggled financially, struggled our relationship, struggled being a stepdad. Um, we struggled with like that type of stuff, but I was always fine with it because I'd just go to work, I'd come home and I'd drink.
Hmm.
Um, and then, and I didn't, I would sporadically work out. That wasn't anything. The running carpenter definitely was not a thing. I completely stopped running. Maybe I'd do a 5K every once in a while if somebody like challenged me to do it or whatever.
Yeah.
4.5 years ago, there's a run here like in um, Christmas time called the Wonderful Life Run 5K.
Hmm.
And it's a 5K in where the Wonderful Life, the movie came from,
Sure.
just in Geneva. So I did that. I signed up. I did that with a bunch of people. We all went. My wife went with me, and there was a bunch of us. And it's basically a run. And all along this run in this town, people have tables
You just drank.
set up with shots,
Sure.
drinks, everything. So I'm pretty sure I stopped at every single one of them.
I've always thought that that is the worst idea.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh
'cause
yeah.
I remember even drinking before a run. Like we had a big barbecue and just throwing back like a decent amount of beers and then going and running a 5K or something like that. It
Oh yeah.
it makes zero sense.
I can't believe how much it's wild how much drinking and alcohol is in running. Whether
Yeah.
it's races, after the race, a lot of there's even, bars, all this type of sponsoring races. It's just wild. Yeah. Then I didn't care then. I loved it. I thought it was the best
Sure.
thing ever. You
Sure.
know what I mean? Get done with the race and drink beer. But so that night I we got, like I said, I was taking shots. I was drinking the whole time during this. I think me and a couple other guys were probably the last ones to come through. It's like they were taking down like the finish line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And not everyone there is for that that's doing that race is for, to go to there just to drink. Like a lot of people, people dress up in Christmas outfits and whatnot and have a good time. But so we got back. It was like a 20-minute drive back to where I live, and we went to like a pub to eat. I just kept drinking.
Yeah.
My wife left and went home because she knew I was in no position to even talk to her, try to convince to go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't remember anything after my wife leaving. I woke up the next day in the hospital.
Mm.
And like you black out, but you do remember you'll remember things. So, it was my wife who woke me up and a nurse, and my wife basically, she didn't say anything. She got me out, I checked out or whatever and went to the car, and she had to tell me everything. Like I just completely lost control. When I got home, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I went out into my wood shop. I trashed my wood shop. She had to call my father and my brother, who actually live on the same street as me, thank God, and to come down. This is like 4 o'clock in the morning. I got, my boys are upstairs. I tried to fight my dad. I tried to fight my brother. I tried to fight my wife, not just like, physically. And it got to the point where my father had to call or tell my wife to call the cops.
Yeah.
And to realize that the next day that your wife, your father, and your brother all had to call the cops on you, on the police on you, because you were just completely out of your mind. Major wake up.
Oh, yeah.
So they had to physically handcuff me and take me to the hospital because I was just so out of control. And this isn't just like one thing that's this, obviously this is years of drinking. This is years of just utter nonsense. You know what I mean? So that day, my wife brought me home and she's like, the boys don't know. They just thought you were over at a buddy's house and you spent the night. And she looked at me and she goes, "You're done. You will not drink anymore." And she had said that to me plenty of times over, the last couple years. And I'm just always like, yeah, I'll cut back, whatever. No,
Right.
never did. You know what I mean? And so the next day I went out and I tried to run. I couldn't even run around the block without stopping.
What do you think? What was it? Like, why did you go for a run? Like, what was it? What told you, hey, I'm just going to go for a run?
I really don't know. I was like, I literally don't know what to do right now. I'm like, I want to drink. I want to fight somebody. I want to take everything back over the last, especially, I want to take that night back. I literally had no idea. I didn't know what to do. So I was like, I should just go for a run.
Yeah, it's almost like you're running. Yeah, right. It's like you want to run away from the shame of the night before.
But well, that could have, it could have been just like I was like, I want to run and just not stop, and maybe it'll all go away. Yeah, so that's kind of my story. Just like a quick thing of it. Obviously, there's tons of bad nights. It wasn't just one bad night. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just I would just, and I was never the go out guy.
You were staying home.
I was just stay at home. Oh yeah, I built a nice little bar at my house. You know what I mean? So I think the big issue, and it really started, was during COVID. So I was a carpenter. I was done working. I was home with the boys. My wife went to work every day. And I was at the beginning, everybody was like, you're trying to teach your kids, doing the computer over the school through the computers. And I am not a computer person. So it was really short where I was just, short period of time. I was like, nah, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
But I would, I'd have dinner made when my wife got home, and I'm not like that, and we'd have drinks. And then it was the next thing I was, yeah, it's lunchtime. I can't go anywhere. Let's have a drink. So
Yeah.
I think that's where it really, really started. But
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I would imagine like your drinking history doesn't start with fighting your dad, brother, and wife. You know,
right.
there's all of these things that lead up to that. I do think it's ironic that you just started running, and I almost feel like you just haven't stopped.
Oh, dude, I went to like it's gone to a whole different level. I would have never guessed that day when I went out for a run that one, I'd be the Running Carpenter on Instagram,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and just like it's amazing what you can do. My biggest thing with people whenever they ask, I'm like, it's amazing what you can do if you cut out alcohol out of your life. Not
Well,
just the decision making, but like the time you have.
yeah, right, right. The,
So much time.
and the money, right? The time and the
Oh
money.
yeah, the money. Oh my god, yeah. Because I was a big. I wasn't going to get in a 30 pack of Keystone or Bud Light.
You're getting the good stuff.
Oh yeah, man. I got to have them 8%, 9% IPAs.
I've been having this conversation a lot recently because yeah, I was a beer snob, and
Oh yeah,
I
I totally was.
and I got into this whole like you're talking about running and alcohol being part of the community. I did a lot of mountain biking, and within that mountain biking community, it's the same thing. You get a
Yeah.
lot of it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I would don't get me wrong, I like the taste of beer. I mean, I'm sitting here drinking an Athletic Brewing, right? So
Yeah, they're great.
yeah, but there was also the guys of like, well, I'm drinking this because it tastes so good, and pretending I didn't look at the 9.8% raging
Mm-hmm.
bitch that I got, like, like on
Oh
purpose,
yeah.
and
Oh
it
god,
wasn't.
yeah. You kidding me?
It
Yeah.
wasn't just the taste, right? I knew this
Mm-hmm.
was high octane stuff. So if I said I
Yep.
had 3 beers, well, if I was drinking Bud Lights, that's equivalent to like 6 or 7.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, yeah, no, I completely get that, and from what it sounds like, even the IPA having the bar, that this is part of your identity,
Oh man, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I had my youngest boy. He's 10 now. His name's Hunter. He's a freaking sweetheart, smart as a whip. But he brought home one day. I have it hanging up in my wood shop actually. It's like one of those things. Like I don't know. I don't remember if it was like Father's Day or what it was, but it's some. It's answered a bunch of questions about his dad, and one of them on there he wrote, "My dad loves beer."
So the same thing. I do. I had literally.
Yeah.
They asked someone asked her. I was there for it. It was like I don't know if it was like donuts for dads or it was something you
Yeah.
went to school for, and
Mm-hmm.
this one usually gets me choked up even talking about it, but they're talking about like, what's your parents' favorite food? And, he's like, my dad loves pizza. And what's his
Mm-hmm.
favorite like drink? He's like, my dad's favorite drink is beer. And then everyone laughs, right? Like,
Yep.
because there's other adults there.
Yep.
And I laugh along, but inside I was just dying. I'm like,
Oh yeah. My god. Yeah.
this is crushing to me. Did you come from a family of drinkers?
No, not well. No, not growing up. My parents did not drink. Growing up, actually, probably the first time I think I ever even really saw my parents drink was like when so I have a brother that's a year younger than me. And probably when him and I were like of drinking age, I think was like the first time my parents like I can remember them drinking. They never
Yeah.
drank when we were kids, no. But I was always I had the friend group that all their parents did. I can remember always that's all I ever wanted to do when I like in, middle school, high school was go to those people's houses because we could sneak drinks.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but no, I wasn't around it all the time as far
Yeah.
as my home. Yeah. I think, I love, it's, I don't like to speak bad about the military, but when you join the military, you're going to end up, not everybody obviously, but like smoking, drinking, all those things they go hand in hand. Construction, I've worked construction my whole life. Drinking. Nobody,
No.
like, very rarely do you meet somebody that doesn't drink in the construction world.
Oh, 100%, man.
You
I
know what I
mean,
mean?
you get into some aspects of construction, like I did construction when I got out of the Air Force, and I was around a bunch of roofers, and I think it'd be
Oh
tough.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you didn't find, like, I never saw sober. Drinking was it. That was the light of the
Oh yeah.
roofers I knew. Most of them were on
hmm
meth, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember.
Drugs and alcohol. It's always
Mm,
been a huge part of construction. Oh, probably always will be.
yeah,
I think it's gotten better.
yeah, I'm sure.
Um, especially for me. Now that I am like sober, there's quite a few people that I've met. Actually, one of them was a huge part of when I first got sober. I reached out to a buddy's. His name's Charlie. He's got his own painting and construction. I met him just before I think I got sober, and he became a. I actually reached out to him when I got sober. He's been sober and clean like over, I want to say over 10 years. But yeah, I mean your construction. I mean it's a huge part of.
My sponsor, which I don't talk to very much anymore, but he was a massive part of getting me sober,
hmm
and he was a carpenter,
Yeah.
and I knew him from the rock climbing gym.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people that listen to this show on a regular would have already heard this story, but I would be at the climbing gym with him almost every day. I mean, that's far fetched. Maybe 4 to 5 days a week,
Yeah.
and he would be there with his grandson, and he climbs too. And this dude's a big guy. He's not a guy like you think of a rock climber, some little skinny hippie dude. No, this guy's a construction worker, big.
Yep.
Uh, but there's something about being around people that you almost can smell. I don't know, I can spot my own, right? Like I could see
Yeah.
this guy and there, I could just tell there was something about him. And I don't even know why. I was just getting sober or trying to. And I remember saying something like, um, hey, I'm really trying to get in shape. I always would say it was about getting in shape, but yeah, that was a very small part of it. I said, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to not drink as much. I said, I know you work out a bunch. Like, do you drink? He goes, I've been sober for 14 years. And
Oh wow.
that started a conversation about it.
hmm
And then once you start
Yep.
pulling that string,
Yeah.
he was the first one where I actually opened up and told him about everything. And he goes, he didn't sugarcoat anything. He goes, well, you're a real sick puppy right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, at first I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
let's not get crazy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But it was exactly what I needed to hear. And then this
hmm
guy, unprovoked, texts me every fucking day
Yep.
from that point on for years.
hmm
Every morning, my day started with a text from him.
Yep. That's
So
my buddy Charlie. It's still it's gotten to a point now where we gotten somewhat close. We pretty much talked almost every day lately on our way. But he was a big part. Yeah. When 4 years ago, big part of just because I knew his story a little bit. So because I didn't like
you didn't do like
I
you didn't
didn't
do like a
do
12
a
step.
yeah no um I didn't do any of that. I just kind of did it on my own
Mhm.
actually with as simple as it sounds with running. Um, but I also, I mean, mine different. My wife, my family, phenomenal support system. Like my wife she didn't drink a lot mainly because I always drank. So she drove and, you
Mhm.
know, but she never was, even when I met her, she wasn't like a big drinker.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I didn't do the 12 thing. I just knew a couple different people that I would reach out to, when I needed. But I got big into running uh, I also had actually, she's become a very, very good friend of mine that is my wife's friend, but she's become a very good friend of myself. She doesn't drink. She had breast cancer and, like stopped drinking, started getting, working out, getting healthier and stuff. And her and I talk a lot now too, because she doesn't drink. So that was a huge one too. Let's so many different examples of people that I've reached out to that were kind of my support system. And then between that and the running, and then knowing in the back of my mind, if I had another drink, my wife would probably leave me, which scared the shit out of me because I am a child. when people usually ask my wife, how many kids do you have? She'll say she has 4 boys because,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a child.
I think that most of us are. I mean,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot,
yeah.
yeah.
It's probably
And
part of the name.
yeah, yeah, and uh, we're very fortunate that we've got loved ones that stick by us. That I
Yeah,
was thinking about this last episode I had was around AI and relationships, and I was just thinking about the friction between in relationships
hmm,
and how it can it can end a relationship, but at the same time it can also it makes it stronger because you've got a wife who loves you enough to be able to look past and go, hey man, he's got these issues,
yeah,
he's working on them, and has enough empathy and understanding that this isn't what you want to be, and she sees
right.
this authentic version of you that wants to come out. I mean, I don't want to put words in your wife's mouth, but I just kind of know from my own experience that there's something so beautiful about that, and
Yep.
is the root for a much deeper connection.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's
Yeah,
just kind of my
I mean,
soapbox.
I can't even, it's hard to put into words and, um, everything that woman has done for me. The, and how much our relationship has changed for the better. Like just we had a conversation not that long ago. She just got um, she switched companies she was working for, and they offered her, she went up. She went to a different company, but she's gone up, and um, we both had a conversation, and basically like, if I was still drinking and our relationship didn't change, like she wouldn't have the confidence to go out and try to better herself because I was, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, man. Well, like think about the butterfly.
just our, yeah, it's like, it's almost, it's the same thing with like I don't, I don't know, I don't explain things right, but you know how they talk about, the ripple in the water, how it
Yeah,
gets,
yeah.
like just that one thing that I stopped doing made, and I'm not trying to sound like selfish, like because of that, I changed my wife's life. Not by any means. I changed my life, which made things better between us, built her confidence up, and made her go out and do things better. And then at the same time, my my I don't ever refer to him as my stepson because he's basically he's my son, but my son and I's relation, my stepson. So he's old enough to kind of know, what kind of
Sure.
was going on, and our relationship getting so much better, which then making it even better between my wife and I, my wife and I, that we weren't arguing about things that had to do with him. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
100%. Well,
it's just absolutely insane what just one bad habit you end in your life, how much things can get better, which just made it, once I realized that, then I started thinking like, oh, what if I do this? What if I change this? You know what I mean?
dude,
It's
you,
absolutely insane.
you've literally perfectly described how Consequence of Habit came to be.
Yeah. And
I get,
that's, when it's the first time I ever, the first time I got, introduced to your podcast and I think it was the Instagram page, I think is what I saw first. I'm like, yeah, yep, I'm in.
just,
I'm all in.
literally,
It's literally amazing. It's
I, li-
just, I wear these shirts all the time because that's the other thing too, is in construction. Now I'm getting all jacked up. I'm sorry.
yes, let's go.
I won't stop talking. Um, Back to like you know, being sober in the construction, or, blue collar, it's there, but it's not like a big thing. Like I get questions constantly about the COH, whether it's this, I still can't pronounce this right, but even if I got the COH at my hat, anything, I'm always, and I'll just start talking about it. I
Yeah,
don't even,
that's great.
it's like, I'm all in, like
Yeah,
habits. It's insane. It's just
yeah.
something small.
So just so anyone listening that isn't watching the video, we're both actually wearing the shirt. It's called eudaimonia. It's
There
a
you
word
go.
written across the front, and it's a Greek word. Stoics use it, and it's to mean higher living, and that means not chasing the dopamine, not chasing the thing that makes you feel good short term, because there's something bigger in life, right?
Hmm.
There's a
Yep.
higher purpose, and
Oh yeah.
uh, and to your point, man, this whole thing came because I made a change, and I got all of these. You talk about the ripple effect or the butterfly effect. You go, man, all of these other things, all this other drama, all these other things are gone
Yep.
overnight because I stopped doing this one
Hmm.
thing. And more importantly, the amount of times, and because I talk about your not you, but people in general, their ability to believe what they say,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
I before I ever admitted to the world, I knew there was something wrong with my own drinking, and I would say, I'm not going to drink tonight. I'm
Right.
not going to drink, and then I would go right back. And my
Oh yeah.
word meant
Hmm.
shit. My word
Yep.
meant absolute shit to me.
Yep. I did that for
And
years. Yeah.
yeah, and when you do that over and over, you lose confidence in yourself, you lose
Hmm.
self-esteem. But what so a lot of times that's the snowball effect. Because now I don't feel great about myself. So what am I going to do to make myself feel a little bit better? I'm going to drink.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I'm gonna drink more.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh,
So now,
1,000%. Yeah.
so that just
Hmm.
becomes this perpetual
Yep.
snowball. What was the transformation for you? Well, I'll say personally, and then as a father, at what point has it come out to like even your kids or your oldest son? At what point were you comfortable enough to even approach this? Because for a lot of people, they take this role as a parent, as a father, and
Hmm.
I as to say I can't have this weakness, right? I
Yeah.
have to have my stuff together. You hide stuff, but at what point were you comfortable? Are you comfortable, or even have you where you said, "Hey, I had this thing I had some issues with. I made these massive changes in my life, and that's not part of my life anymore."
So, I mean, it wasn't my oldest. So he's my oldest son. He's 18. Um, and well, I should say, fortunately, all three of my boys are smart and very intelligent, like their mother. They did not get the old rocks up here like I did, but they noticed the kids when kids literally notice everything. They see everything in your house. My two younger, well, so it's 18 right now. They're 18, 13, and 10. Um, Logan, Caleb, and Hunter. My oldest boy, I can remember him, Logan. This was probably, I don't know, it was probably like less than a year into me, not really. Well, probably, yeah, it was less than a year because the bar's still in my house. There's still wine at my house, and my wife will have some drinks in the fridge. So that never really went away, but like all the beer obviously did. And he did say to me one day, he goes, you don't really drink anymore, do you? And I'm like, no, I'm all done. I don't drink anymore. I'm trying to get healthy. That's what I would say. The other two, um, the other
I
two,
think
it
so.
was a lot longer before they like said anything, and I didn't really say anything. I didn't really bring it up.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but I've had some pretty with my 18-year-old, especially being 18, going off to college. Um, I've had some very good conversations with my oldest boy of what went down, why I quit. Um, and then also my 13-year-old, um, we've had a lot of conversations about stuff because he notices everything and he sees that people just so I've talked in depth with those two. My youngest one, I haven't really talked to really about it. I mean, he's 10.
yeah,
Um, if he asks, I will. It's only been like I've talked about, my story and stuff with other people that are sober after I, find out about different things. But probably the last 6 months, 6 to 8 months, I don't, I'll talk to anybody about it now.
yeah.
Like I'm at that point now where I'm like, if I could I'll tell 1,000 people. Oh, and if one person says, you know what, if he can do it, I can do it. I'd be
Yeah.
happy as shit. You know what I
Did
mean?
you
Like,
did you ever think while you're drinking that there was a life without it?
oh God, no. I loved
Mm-mm.
it. Loved
Yeah.
it. It was everything. It was, that's we went somewhere, there was a cooler with beer in it. Shit, I've gone to kids' birthday parties and gotten hammered, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not that was always a thing, and I never once thought about not having it. That's for sure. You know what I mean? And I never thought about the consequences of like my, how my body would feel if, by doing it. Um, yeah, no, never once thought about it.
So you,
Even now, like now I couldn't, I can't even think about or imagine if I was still doing it.
yeah, I see somebody drinking. I'll see somebody at a party that's, uh, you know, who's just wasted, and and I feel for him. I feel for what their next day is going to look like,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been there so many times, and I say that, and this is the hard part when I even describe consequence of habit, because people are like, well, is it about not drinking and drugging? I'm like, no, man, it's about either doing or not doing those things that is good for you, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
again, having a sense of agency in your life. I would just so happen with alcohol, I didn't have a sense of agency. I did it every single day, and
Yeah.
there was no option. So it's just about making these changes. You've embraced running. You've made not just running a big part of your life, but also using running as a vessel or platform to raise money for different organizations.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you've texted me, Josh, like I would probably say 5 separate occasions where you told me how amazing that makes you feel to
Oh
do
my
that.
God. Yeah. That was
Uh,
so when I started just going out and running, it wasn't, it was a couple times a week. And then I got to be more and more because I realized that like if I went out and ran, like I would feel, and it wasn't even like the high of it. It was the fact that like I can be I can get very depressed very quickly. I can get very angry very quickly. And I noticed that at first it was always like, well, if I tire the shit out of my brain, and because my mind would race too at night, if I could just tire myself out to the point where like, so I could sleep, or that I wasn't snapping, I wasn't angry. So then it became, I started just I was running all the time, not far, not crazy, but just running all the time. And then one of the first things I did was on Facebook. Um, there's that Stop Soldier Suicide
yeah.
group or whatever it is. On Facebook, they do a thing in September where like you run 100 miles in September and you can get people to donate. So I'm like, well, I'm going to try that. Let's see. Should see what I can do. I ended up, I did I did the 100 miles in September, which is farthest. I've never done that before in my life. You keep track through their thing. But then, so I started sharing that on Facebook and people were donating like crazy. I ended up raising like 4 or 5 grand
Mm.
in that 1 month. And I'm like, and every day I'm out running. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get done with my run. I can post it. Like it just like that's every day. I was like, oh, I gotta like get home from work. I gotta go run because I gotta get that post up. Because if I don't, one person, 2 people might be checking that every day. So I did that and it was amazing, literally amazing. I not only was building up crazy endurance, which I wasn't thinking about. I was just thinking about, making that, it's terrible to say, but making that next post so people could see I did my run for the day, so they're not donating to just junk. I think that was and then I did it again the following year and I ended up being there. I would end up being the top 3 for raising money for that. It was like 7,000.
Oh,
It was
that's
something
fantastic,
crazy. Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. It was wild. Like even like one of the lady that kind of, she was in charge of that type stuff. She sent me a very nice email. Um, and then I'm trying to think I don't think I was still running, obviously those 2 years, just nonstop. It just became a huge thing. Um, I was feeling better. I was just lots of things were better. Not perfect by any means. They still aren't perfect. Um, every day is a struggle. Every day you got to show up. But so I started doing 5Ks, 10Ks, I went and did my first half marathon. My wife and my kid was there for that. That was huge. Like to do a half marathon, like 13 miles. That's, I mean, yeah, well, I ran in the military. I ran this there. Nothing like I never ran a half marathon. Ended up signing up for another half marathon. So I ended up meeting this guy. His name's, I don't know, it was my second or third half marathon. It was a local one. But I saw this guy and I'm like, I know this guy. Well, I ended up at the end of the race, I went over and I said, I'm pretty sure I know you. Are you Ben? And he goes, yeah. Are you Josh? And I go, yeah. So we had followed each other on Facebook. So come to find out he was training. His name's Ben Vitale. We've become such close friends. So he was training. That was one of his training runs, using that as a training run for New York City Marathon. And he was doing it through CHOP, which is the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So I said, you ever want to go for a run, let me know. And at this point, I really didn't have people I ran with. I didn't know a lot of people. I mean, I know people that run, but I didn't really know people like training for marathons, like that type of stuff. So I ended up going a couple of his long runs with him, 18 miles. We're talking the whole time. As you can see, I don't have a problem talking. I do all his long runs with him. He does New York City. He gets done with it. He goes, listen, why don't you do Chicago Marathon with me? And I'm like, are you serious? I go, I don't know. I have to talk to my wife. This is a big deal. This is a big commitment. So I'll make a long story short. Him and I become great friends. We both sign up for Chicago Marathon, and we did it through Erica's Lighthouse, which is, they work with adolescents and with mental health issues, like that type of stuff. They're based out of Chicago. So him and I ended up, I think you had to raise $2,500 a piece. I think we ended up raising like, I don't know, 6,000 or 7,000, together. So him and his wife, his son and his niece, they went, and my wife and I went. We had a great weekend. But like the training for that, the whole time I'm like, you get that good feeling because you're doing something good. It's a service to other people, which is obviously that's a huge part of, your sobriety is
service
to others. And I'm like, at that time is like, this might be I'm thinking to myself back in my head, like, this might be my thing. I really like this. This is fantastic. So Chicago Marathon went okay. I did all right running wise. It was I think it was my second marathon. The first one I did was a trail marathon, but I'm like, I'm hooked. I really like this. It's expensive to do these big marathons, but so we get that done. He's chasing all the big ones. He wants to get his big, medal of all of them. I could take it or leave road running. I really got into the trail stuff, but so we do Berlin.
Oh, that's right.
So,
I remember. Yeah.
So Erica's Lighthouse, they were so happy with us that at the end of that race, they actually told us, if you guys want Berlin bids, we will save 2 for you, because we had raised so much money. So we ended up doing Berlin, raised all the money we needed to. Ended up being 14 of us that went to Berlin, between my family and his family. I took my kids, he took his kids, and his niece went, and my parents went. It was fantastic. And the whole time I'm in there, I'm like, if I didn't quit drinking, this would have never happened. I just took my kids to Germany. Like, in no way, shape, or form should I have been able to do that. I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
that's all I keep thinking about. You're talking about, like, all right. And this goes back to that Stoic principle or theory, like what stands in the way becomes the way, right?
Yeah.
So this thing that you did every single day that was detrimental to both your health and, turns out, relationships and money and time, you make this change. I mean, you've already listed so many different things, like starting with your own health, right? Starting with, hey, this is what calms my monkey mind when I just when I just tire myself out. And all of a sudden, the relationship with my son's better. The relationship with my wife's better. My wife is making these positive changes. She's improving herself. It turns into a promotion with another company.
Yeah.
You've raised, I'm just from the quick math, I don't know, $15,000, $20,000 between all of the different organizations that you've raised money for. You brought your kids to freaking Germany.
I know. I mean, if you never, even when I, a year into being sober, I would have never thought that.
Yeah.
And then meeting the people that I've met, and this is a big, big part of it, from running is more than half of the reason why I'm doing as well as I am too. I've met so many great people, you included, because we're running. You know what I mean? Like there's so many people. Taylor Spike.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like we can easily get into talking to him because that's almost the next part, like, of my running. So now I'm like, I started to do some trail running at the same time in between, Berlin, Chicago. I was dabbling into a little bit into the trail running. Actually, I should back up. Hold up. I got to back up. I forgot one very, very important person. So after I did my first marathon before Chicago, it was a trail one. And I had no idea what I was doing with trail stuff. So on social media, Facebook, I had an old, when I was getting out of the military in 2013, just before that, there was a young guy, Eric, that was getting in. He ended up going to be an officer, all this stuff. But anyways, so years later, I see him on Facebook, but he had a post up about his wife who's a run coach. So I instantly reached out because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going out for runs every day. I had no idea about training and stuff. And I'm like, well, you know what? I want to do, I started to research into ultra marathons. And I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I probably should get a coach. And the same thing for, Chicago and Berlin. I'm like, if I'm going to do these things, I probably should look into. So I end up, she's been absolutely fantastic. I've had her, 3 years now as my run coach. They're a lot young. Her and her husband are a lot younger than me, but like we've become great friends. And she doesn't drink, they have they have kids. So, but they've been a huge part. I've gone out and done races with her. Her name's Mary, by the way. She's been fantastic, phenomenal part of my whole journey too, especially with, keeping me running, keeping me fit, doing all these things. I struggle with the social media stuff because I think it's bad, but at the same time, like, I met so many people through Instagram and a lot of the running thing. I think I somehow found out about Taylor first and then maybe found out about Consequence of Habit through that.
Most likely.
I can't remember.
So,
and I don't remember exactly how I even saw him. I don't know if it was when he was running the Arizona Monster 300 or if it was before that. I think it had to have been before that. But then I heard his story.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that podcast in itself, the first one we ever did, which was really early on, and I don't know if you even know the story behind that. Dude, I had an interview for that one. He talked to me like there was multiple emails before because he didn't do podcasts, and it was to like ask me about my story, and I'm like, what the freak, dude? I'm trying to interview you, not the other way around.
Yeah.
But it was. I think he just wanted. He wanted to know a bit about me, whatever. Because of that podcast, and you talk about like the ripple effect, Taylor has been a massive part. I've never met Taylor face to face.
Really?
Never.
Oh, wow.
Never. But we connected on that podcast, and we've kept in touch the entire time. He's been one of our biggest advocates, and I would say there's a huge portion of people that have found COH because of Taylor Spike.
Yeah.
And I didn't even, and at this time I had no idea who his brother was. Like I had no idea that
Yeah,
Cameron.
see, I didn't know who his brother was until I was following him, and yeah, it's. I definitely found out about him before the Arizona Monster 300, but when he was doing that, and I was keeping track of that, is when somebody said, "I think that's Cam Haynes' brother." I had no idea it was. Yeah, I didn't even know who Cam was.
I knew him from I had watched him on Rogan before, as Rogan was talking about like these insane workouts he would do, and
Yeah,
then Taylor he did a post, and this was almost a year after he came on the podcast. He's like, me and my brother Cam were out running. I'm like, brother, is that like a metaphorical thing? Like, is that just is like, is he a good friend?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
and I come to find out, like, no, that's his brother. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super grateful to him for a lot of different reasons. But one of them, a lot of the ambassadors, they found out about COH
Yeah.
in the
Yep.
program
Yep.
is through him. And he's a super humble dude. And like, I don't think he understands the impact he's had on it.
Oh, he is.
The amount of
Yeah, he's
people.
very humble. Yeah,
Yeah.
but so I started following him on Instagram, started following you, and then I heard about the whole spike cam, and um, I'd done a couple trail races, couple 50Ks. I'd done 2 50 milers. So I was really I was really enjoying the ultra stuff. You can't even explain when you finish something like that, like the feeling, like the training for it. There's everything. And at this whole time, my children, my boys are seeing this. And it took years. It took years before. It was probably like not that long ago that I was like, literally, this is what I'm thinking about. Like, this is what my boys are seeing this. And if you can see, I'm actually in my son's room. This is his gaming setup, but in the background, you can see where he's got a couple bibs and medals. When I started doing the running thing, then they started kind of getting into like the whole like, yeah, I want to do a 5K. So like when we went to Berlin, my buddy and I ran the marathon, but my kids all did the 5K the day before. This one is actually he's getting into cross country, so I'm really excited about that. But to back up, like, yeah, my kids are seeing this. Like there's the ripple effect. It's you changing one thing in your life, and it could be the smallest thing. Your kids are seeing it.
Yeah, because
I
they
don't
would have
care
seen
what
you
it
drink,
is.
right? They would have seen you drinking
Oh
all
yeah,
the
yeah,
time.
I was always drunk. Yeah, they always knew I was drinking. They always knew I was drunk. I always had a beer in my hand.
So,
Always.
so to them, that is adulting, right? Like
Yeah,
what they
yeah,
see their parents do is
yep.
that's adulting.
Yeah, they just think that that's what you do.
Yeah.
As
How
a
could,
parent, you come home from work and you need a drink,
yep.
and you drink until bedtime, and
Yep.
you smell. You
Yeah.
know,
You smell like,
but
every time you lay with them at night when they're
yeah,
little to say goodnight, you
yeah,
smell like alcohol.
mm-hmm, yep.
Um, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like so. I saw the spike cam thing. I'm like, oh man, what is this? You know what I mean? So I had sent him a couple messages on Instagram, and he might have like liked something that I sent to him, back and forth. But I didn't really talk to him and stuff. But I'm like, okay, Spike Camp. I started reading all about it. I'm like, this is really cool. The money goes towards something. I've would have to fly all the way across the United States because I live in New York, obviously, and this is over in Oregon. And my wife she is not a runner. She hates running, but she gets it. She 1000% supports everything that I do with the running, because I've done a lot of traveling now with running, some with her, some with not. And it's expensive, you know, it's very expensive, some of these trips. So she got me flights. She got me a flight. She got me a hotel. Like I said, I'm a child. I can't even do that stuff on my own. Um, so I went out there by myself, had no idea who I was going to be out there, who I'd meet. That weekend, obviously I'd already been sober for, 3.5 years, whatever, 4 years or whatever. That weekend was a huge, like, I don't even know what happened to me that weekend when I went out there.
Uh, Why so? What do you think?
Like, I came back from that, started like my habits changed even more.
Wow.
Like the meeting that many people, first of all, you're going to suffer for 12 straight hours. Everyone I met had a smile on their face, no matter what, throughout the entire day. The amount of like the Shaw family, fantastic people, like absolutely fantastic people.
Yeah.
The meeting Taylor was freaking huge. He was so busy because everyone, like most, a lot, so many people were there to meet him, to talk to him. But like his wife, phenomenal
Pam.
woman.
Yeah, she's great.
Uh, Work ethics, like the hat I have on. Caden and his wife Maggie, fantastic people.
Yeah.
I ended up doing a couple summits with them. I met Sam from Bare Butt Wipes. He was there. I think I did like 3 or 4 summits with him, just talking. Like you literally, like everyone I met there was just a fantastic people. A lot of them in recovery. A lot of people sharing their stories. Like I left there with so many new friends. When you talk about like life, a lot of times especially in carpentry, like I'll tell, like when I'm at work, I'll tell some of the younger guys, I'll teach them something. I'm like, put that in your toolbox.
Yeah.
It's all these different tools you're putting in your toolbox. The amount of stuff that I learned in that weekend, and the people and all the different tools I was putting in my toolbox was utterly incredible. But like I came home and I was jacked up. I was ready. My training started even more. I was working out harder. I was even eating better. I lost 28 pounds since then, which has been huge for my running and my knees and my old joints. But the really cool part was I actually, after the fact that I was out there, like I actually started talking to Taylor a lot more, messaging and stuff. And it's been, what an incredible person. There's obviously in running ultras, you get, all your professional athletes, all that type of stuff. But like to see people like him, who he's been through the things he's been through, he still works. He still he still has a full-time job. He has kids. All these things. That's the ones that I like to look up to, are the people that, are like me, that still have to have a job, have to work, but still are trying to train and still get after a lot of these big goals. So yeah, that weekend was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, man, what a cool story.
Yeah. So I've got like, since then, I just did another 50 miler, and it was my 3rd year doing the same one. And I PR'd it by like 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I signed up for, actually after that, I signed up, I got 100K in 2 weeks, I think. My first 100K in 2 weeks. Yeah. And then Bryce Canyon, I go to Bryce Canyon in September. I'm so excited about that. Really want to do a race out in the Midwest so bad. So I'm
Yeah,
really excited. And like the fact that I got to raise money. I
you
love it.
did. You
I
did.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're funny too, because we're not a massive nonprofit, right? But so when someone raises money like that's a huge impact for us.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
this isn't Wounded Warrior, or something where,
Right.
that's a rounding error. It's a big deal for us. And I remember hitting you up. I'm like, hey man, like, is there anything specific you want to do with you want to see this money go to? You're like, no, do what you're going to do with the money. Like, yeah, like whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
Uh,
If I could make this, it's my
I
wife's.
know where you're going.
I'm always telling my wife, she gets so mad. I'm like, I'll come home and I'm like, hey, do you think you could make a little bit more money? Maybe I could work part-time.
Yeah, right.
Or I'll just be like, hey, do you think I could be a stay-at-home dad, even though my kids are old and almost out of the house?
Yeah.
I'm like, if I could make it where my full-time job was to raise money and just run races, my life I'd be like on cloud 9. It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. But it tends, it's funny because I actually just a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to my buddy Ben, the one that we do all the big marathons together. So he's older than I am. Who's he? Let's see, I'm going to be 44. So he's 10. I think he's 10 or 11 years older than me. But so he's trying to he feels like he doesn't have enough. He's getting older, so he wants to crush all these marathons quick. So we both put in for London Marathon, the lottery. neither one of us got it. So we're like, oh, God dang it. And I'm like, well, I'll do a charity. I don't care, but it gets to the point where it's like, I've been very lucky there's a lot of very generous people that I know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like, they don't even really care what it's going towards. They'll just donate the money because they know they want to see what kind of off the wall shit that I got going on. And so it's like, I'm like, I can do a charity, but then at the same time, I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, do you think I can keep asking people for money?
Yeah. It feels weird to keep going back to the well.
It does. It really does. Yeah. It really, really does. So I'm running London Marathon, next year, and I'm doing it for CHOP, for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So like, I got my next thing, because I hit my goal with Bryce Canyon, even though I haven't ran that 100 miles yet. I'm like, oh, I got to set the next thing. You know what I mean? So, so I'm going to London, which is funny because I actually also got, I tend to take things to the extreme, obviously. Cigarettes, I was smoking 2 packs a day. Booze, obviously, became a raging alcoholic. It's just never enough. Now it's almost like my wife says to me sometimes, I come up with all these ideas about the running. She goes, "Is that ever going to be enough?" I actually I got in the lottery for Cocodona 250 too.
Actually, I think I remember.
Yeah. So I don't know how this is all going to work out, because London is like a couple weeks before it, which is fine. I don't care. The traveling and the money is going to be the big one, but never. The mere fact that I'm on a podcast talking about running, it's just out of this world, man. It's literally out of this world. I couldn't be happier with the way things in my life are going. And I don't want to sound like everything's perfect, because it's not. Just because I'm a very happy person now, and my life is 1,000 times better than it was, but every day is a struggle. I still have my good days. I have my bad days. I still get depressed. There's times where I'm like, you know what? I got to get outside. I got to go outside and run. I still have crappy days at work. Who doesn't? You know what I mean? I still I get in my own head a lot, but
are you more in tune with where you are mentally now, because your way of dealing with it has to do with physical activity and being outside, compared to just disappearing into
Oh yeah. This is,
what are some of your telltale signs, like, I need to do something?
I get real, my mind will start racing, where I can't focus on things. I can't sit still. And I've gotten to the point now where I can tell if I'm getting mad, I'm getting angry, I'm about to snap. It's taken 4 years of self reflecting on and thinking. I try to think about the past a lot, because that's actually helped me figure out different signs or to different things I need to change. I still get mad. I still snap. I still get angry. But it's easier to deal with. It's easier to tell the signs. It's easier to, go for a run, or, just go outside, do something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's all these things. None of it's rocket science, right?
No.
Like, if you said to somebody who didn't know, like, "Hey, you tell me what would be better for my overall wellness, drinking or physical activity and being outside?" Like,
Right.
like, we're not saying you don't have to be Nancy Drew to figure this stuff out. It's just that, but the difference is, it's not an immediate gratification, where the drinking thing happens like that, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. You open that beer, you're good.
Yeah. By the end of that first, 8.6 hitter, you're you're feeling, where the run, you're gonna have to go through some discomfort. You're gonna have to go through a little bit of pain.
Yeah. It's not like, I've had people come up, and ask me, hey, I got so and so, my husband, or my brother is drinking. Could you talk to them? I'm like, well, you can have them reach out to me. Everybody you have to be ready yourself. You have
Yeah.
to, because it's not easy. You got to put work in. You know what I mean? I try to help. I try to talk to as many people as I can. I talked about the different things that I've done um, to make you know to get sober, but it's never done. I'm not cured.
Yeah. There's no
You know
such
what I
thing.
mean?
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like you gotta. It's not. It's hard. It's put in time. It's not like, oh, I put the drink down, I'm gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's everywhere. Drinking is literally everywhere.
Yeah, and it's not just the drinking, right? I mean, drinking for us that was our escape, but there's so many different escapes out there now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's and the important thing is, if it makes you feel good short term, chances are it's going to cause extended levels of suffering,
Yep.
unnecessary suffering.
Mhm.
That's and society just offers way too many of those things. And here's what I don't know if you've wrapped your head around this, Josh. You've talked about all the positive things that have happened. Uh, you have no idea, just even through raising money, the positive effects that you've had on people's lives. I don't think you probably completely understand that just by those people you talk to, that you very well could have laid the foundation for them to make these positive changes. And you'll never know, right? Like
Yeah.
you have no idea with just one conversation,
Hmm.
because there is something about talking in communities where these things are prevalent. So within the blue collar career fields, when you say, "Hey, I made this change," that can be the spark for somebody else to be like, "Oh, you know what? It is possible. I don't have to follow this status quo of the
Right.
way
Yep.
everyone does things."
Hmm.
So, man, I'm super grateful for you to be part of this thing, and also you already mentioned them, but Caden and the crew at Epic,
Oh,
um,
awesome. Oh, yeah, they're
awesome work.
fantastic.
Yeah.
He works his tail off. He's a fireman,
Yep, sure is.
firefighter, and then and has this. He's trying to create something with the Work Epic brand, and it's
So
it's incredible. They're incredible. Him and his wife are just. I
yeah,
spent actually, just spending like the whole next day after um the spike camp thing. I ended up spending that with them, and we did a couple summits together.
awesome,
Fantastic people. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
awesome.
I mean, I couldn't ask for better people to backing me with just friendship. You know what I mean?
Yep,
But
and you mentioned the Shaws, and they run an organization,
yep, recovery strong. Yeah.
called Recovery Strong. Awesome. We keep flirting with this idea of doing something kind of just co-doing an event. I think it's coming at some point. I
Hmm.
don't know if they're going to be at, Michael Whiteside, uh, through that trail restoration program. He's holding a race, the
Yeah,
Crooked Goat, the
yeah.
Crooked
Oh,
Goat
I wish
Trail
I could get
race.
out. Yeah, I wish I could get out there for that.
But
I'll be
that
out
is,
there at some point.
yeah. Well, listen, we're applying for another grant again. I'm gonna give a shout out to Athletic Brewing guys. They made that possible through their
So
grant,
awesome. Yeah.
and we're applying again, this year. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but regardless, they've also been a big part of this whole thing with COH. But man, you've kind of been a glue to bring a lot of these different brands and organizations, together, and that's what this whole thing's about, man.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It's just like I said, the running is. I've met so many great people, and like I said, it's not. Um, you can choose anything. It doesn't have to be running,
yeah,
but I mean, my buddy Charlie, he works out. He doesn't run, but he works out every day, and that's his thing. You hit the gym every day. It could be anything. Go walk. Just the big thing is just the. I feel like the big thing is to go outside. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
put your phone down and go for a walk. I mean, when I go for my runs, I always take my phone because I've had a lot of close calls of getting hit by cars. But I've gotten to a point where a lot of my runs, I don't even listen to music now. But yeah, just you got to go outside. You got to, or even just get a friend and go for a walk. Like just
yeah.
get away from the inside of your house, your work, whatever, just and just try to go out and just pick something different. It could be anything. I mean, it could be writing, it could be drawing, like whatever you got to do to, make those. But like, you don't have to hit rock bottom to stop doing something. You don't have to have a story to stop to drinking. You don't have to have a reason. You can just stop. You know what I mean? You don't have to drink a certain amount to say, "Oh, I got to quit." You could drink every once in a while and just say, "You know what? I don't even like it. Why do it?"
Yeah,
It's just very small, little, tiny habits that it's crazy. Like it's the whole C of H, like the habits. It could be the simplest thing. You can do one little thing and you'll notice, and then it's going to snowball.
that's
Cold
exactly
plunging.
right.
I'm
No,
cold
whatever.
plunging.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm running. I'm cold plunging. I'm going outside instead of sitting inside. I'm going outside and playing. My kids are all huge lacrosse players. I'm going outside and playing catch, lacrosse more now than I ever have.
Yeah.
It's just very simple things that can make your life so much better.
Dude, the compound interest on all of those things is
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah. Like
Well, man,
even I can even remember my dad. I can remember when I was younger, my dad would always say, he'd always get mad at, like, if we were listening to music with like bad words, or a TV show that was just we shouldn't have been watching or whatnot, and he would always say garbage in, garbage out,
yeah, it's the truth.
and I hated when he said that. I would get so mad. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then I'm saying it to my kids now. Like I'm a huge podcast guy now. I love podcasts. I listen to a lot of books on tape. I read a lot more now, and it's all you know positive things. And if the more positive you put in your life, you're gonna have positive outcomes.
Yeah. Again, this isn't, we're we're not telling anybody something that they probably don't already
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Right. But
Everybody.
it's just,
Yeah. It's just you got to do it.
you got to do it. You
Yeah.
got to go through the motions of actually doing it.
Right.
And it becomes a habit, and once you start that self exploration, that becomes, and then you start listening to books and podcasts because you want to learn
Mm-hmm.
more. You want to optimize and figure
Yeah.
out why I do the things I do, or how do I start doing this. Um, well, Josh, man, I know we're running out of time here, man, but I started in the beginning by telling you how much I appreciate you. I'm going to end it that way as well.
Yeah, man.
Man, I'm excited to see where this whole thing goes for both you and your story, your family's story, and all the impact you've had on the world, man. So I
Thanks
appreciate
for
you.
having me on, man. It's pretty cool.
All right, that's a wrap. Huge thanks to Josh. If you guys want to support him, make sure you check him out at the Running Carpenter on Instagram. Make sure you follow him as he does the Bryce Canyon 100. Lastly, we do have our veteran or rites of passage retreat happening on August 26th. So if you've been somebody that's donated to that campaign, I can't thank you enough. So from the bottom of my heart, of both myself and the COH team, thank you for helping making this opportunity possible for veterans. And that's it. I'll catch you guys next month.